Hello everyone, I'm Brett, and today on Math Hacks we are throwing it back to the basics. I am showing you how to graph linear equations from both slope-intercept and standard form. Now, if this is something you haven't done in a while, today's lesson is going to be an excellent review for you. Because honestly, linear equations are just one of those need-to-know fundamental concepts. So how do you graph the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 5? This equation is in slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b form, and so it is the most friendliest form to graph from. So we're pretty lucky in that respect on this problem. The first thing you need is going to be an x and y coordinate axis. So this is my x-axis, so you're going to want a horizontal line for that. And you're going to want a vertical line going through it to represent the y-axis. Now we have two pieces of information that are really key in this problem. We have this number on the end that doesn't have an x attached to it. That is the y-intercept. And we have this number in front of the x. This is 1/2 in this case, and that is the slope. So to get started in this problem, you always start with the y-intercept. So this is the place where our line crosses the y-axis. In this case, it's at +5. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to count up to 5. And I'm going to put a dot. It looks like it's right. It's like it was right at the end there. So I just extended my line a little bit. Now all I need to do is apply the slope from this point. So the 1/2 is the change in y over the change in x, or commonly known rise over run. So for this problem, to get to the next point on this line, I need to go up 1 and right 2. I'm kind of running out of room here, so instead of going up 1 and right 2, to get a couple more points on my graph, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to go down 1 and left 2. And that's a legal move because we know that -1 divided by -2 is still a +1/2. Okay? Now once you have enough points that you're comfortable with connecting the dots into a straight line, all you have to do is draw your line. Got some nice little arrows at the end. There you go. You have graphed the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 5. Alright, so what if the equation we're given isn't in slope-intercept form? Well, I can't just go ahead and read off the y-intercept and the slope in this problem like I did in the last one. That means that I have to do a little bit of algebra before I can graph. Now, all I need to do to get it into slope-intercept form is solve for y. So I'm going to try to isolate the y variable, and in doing so, I'll automatically change this equation into slope-intercept form. Notice how I divided every single term in this equation by 4. That's a really important step you don't want to miss. Alright, so as promised, our equation is now in y equals mx plus b form. Our coefficient on x is the slope, and our constant by itself, in this case -3, is the y-intercept. We're going to start by marking the y-intercept, so at -3 on the y-axis is where our line crosses. And now I want to apply a slope of -3/4. So that means I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. Or alternatively, because -3/4 is the same as 3/4, I could choose to go up 3 and then go left 4. Once you have enough points, again, we're just going to connect the dots. So for our last problem of the day, I'm just going to show you one with a little bit trickier numbers in it. Again, we're starting in standard form. It's not that nice, so we need to isolate the y variable in order to be able to easily graph this. So I'm going to start by adding the 1 over, and then I'm going to subtract 1/2 x. Lastly, I need to divide everything by -1/3. So this is where a little bit of arithmetic comes in. Remember, when you're dividing by a fraction, you need to flip and multiply. So I'm running out of room, we'll just go over here. So we're gonna have -1/2 times -3/1. So that's just gonna turn into, the negatives are gonna make a positive, so it's just gonna be 3/2. And lastly, to divide 1 by -1/3, again, I'm gonna flip and multiply. So I get -3/1 I'm multiplying by, and 1 times -3/1 is simply -3/1, or -3. So there we go. We have found the slope-intercept form of the equation, which makes it nice and easy to graph. So I'm going to start by marking the y-intercept, which is -3. Now I'm going to apply a slope of 3/2, so I'm going to go up 3 and right 2. Again, I could do the exact reverse, so I could go down 3 and left 2. And that's another point on my line. Lastly, we just connect the dots. There you go. That's the line y equals 3/2 x minus 3. So that is graphing linear equations in a nutshell. If you found today's tutorial useful, I really appreciate it if you give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I invite you to join the Math Hacks community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button below. Until next time, my name is Brett, and thank you so much for joining me.